Hello guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel called Walk With Me. And today's video is called The Process of Purification. So this is written down, so if it sounds a little bit mechanical, it's because I'm reading it from something. I'm not just saying it off the top of my head. So here I wrote, the spiritual process of any sort can be summed up into a few words. These words are the process of purification. This is simply put that you are day by day purifying yourself from evil to a point where not a speck of it is left, not a trace of evil is left within. This is the goal of the saints. This is the goal of the saviors. The level of your peace is based on the purity of your heart. The more pure the heart, the more peaceful the person. The more impure the heart, the less peaceful the being. The process of purification starts with the purification of your bodily actions. This step cannot be skipped. This step is to be taken first. This is where all the gross impurities of mind are sourced from. An untamed body leads to an impure heart. A tamed body leads to a more pure heart. At the beginning of this path, the first step is exertion. You must exert yourself in an attempt to lift your mind from evil. At first difficult and painful, then soon becoming peaceful and soothing. At some point after persistent effort, you see the results of this. You begin to taste of peace and think that your work is rather finished much sooner than it actually is. This is only the beginning. This is just the start. Temptation then comes through to remind you that evil still remains. By the time you reach temptation, some clarity has been gained, but temptation doesn't question your clarity, but rather it questions your faith and endurance. Not only does it test your level of faith, but it questions what your faith is in. Most people may imagine that temptation is some exciting process, but this is only because of ignorance. On the other side of resisting temptation lies torment. The reason being is that evil has no choice but to come to the surface when you resist temptation. It must show itself and can no longer disguise itself. Temptation unmasks evil. Temptation does the work that exertion cannot. Temptation is a friend to help. To be clear, this doesn't mean to go out looking to be tempted. But when temptation shows up unwelcomed and uninvited, first step is to resist the temptation, and second step is to endure the torment. This gives you a chance to become more knowledgeable of evil. This offers more clarity if you are to endure it. Temptation offers a chance to build a mental strength that you weren't able to build before only because you didn't know exactly how to use it. If you can recall, this technically isn't the first time that temptation appears, but the first time it appeared with ignorance, meaning you most likely were allowing yourself to fully go after it. But when this very same thing appears with wisdom, this is called temptation. Now you have seen beyond the pleasure and know that in following that object that arouses desire, you are being delivered to a prison cell. You are being led to a prison cell where no enjoyment exists. In that prison cell lies fear, torment, and pleasure. While in that prison cell, you notice that the pleasure is and has always been what led you here. Now that you have wisdom, you see what a beautiful gift has been given to you. So when temptation comes, now first you dig your heels into the ground and you resist. After this, you prepare to endure the torment. You prepare to pay your dues. To be clear, the torment is no fun process, but when your perspective and how you see it changes, you can be able to breathe through a rather uncomfortable process. Temptation will persistently come back to test you again and again, but as long as you persistently show up to the table of torment, seeking no way out but through it, then you can't lose. Sitting through and paying your dues, you can begin to smile because each time you pay, a weight is taken off of your shoulders. Each time you resist temptation and endure your torment, you become closer to the truth. And the Bible says, seek the truth and it will set you free. This we shall do and free we will be. Just wrote this. This is just to talk about the process of purification. It is the goal of any religion, of any religious endeavor, any religious task to take on, any spiritual task, even if it's not connected to a religion. This is the goal of every single one of them. This is the path of purification. It can be summed up to just that. And it's a slow and painful process. It's a transformative process. There's no way that someone can go through this process and not be transformed. If a person's heart is transformed, then their whole body and mind shall be transformed with it. The Bible it says, all the springs of life flow from the heart. All the things in your life flow from your heart. All the actions you do flow from your heart. So if you cleanse your heart, then the actions must be cleansed too, because it's impossible to have a completely purified heart and do an impure act. It is impossible. You can't do it. That's what this process is, and it's a process that you have to be patient through, and you have to have faith. You can't forget the faith. Faith is what I read a book by James Allen. It said faith precedes knowledge. So the thing is, people think that they'll die with faith. Some people will have to die with faith. That's only because they haven't yet reached the knowledge. But some people don't. They no longer need the faith when they die, because they have realized for themselves. There's no more faith needed when you have realized on your own. Not on your own. When you have realized for yourself, there's faith is no longer needed, and you can rest in the knowledge that you have slowly come to. And don't put a time on it. Don't think that, oh, this is going to be over. This is going to take a year. It's going to take 2 years. It's going to take 3 years. It's going to take 4 years, 5 years. Who knows how long it'll take? And it's not a straight. People think of it when they first start. It's like, okay, this is going to be a process. It's going to be like a straight linear line, like slowly and slowly. I'm just going to get better and better and better and better and better. That's not how it works. That's what temptation does. You make 3 leaps forward. You take 5 giant steps forward. And temptation comes through and causes your mind to want to take 10 steps back. But you have to resist that temptation so that you may continue to walk forward. Temptation draws you back to old habits and old things that you used to do that you know aren't good for you. But resisting it causes the evil within to come to the surface, because you no longer agree. Once you stop, it's like you have a friend or like, a person, and when you agree with them, they're all good and fine and they're all nice with you because you're giving into them. See, before you gave in to temptation when it came, which is why you couldn't say you were tempted. You gave into it and it was nice, and then nothing seemed to happen. But now that same friend, when you disagree with them, now they're angry at you. That's the same thing with this temptation. Once you don't go for it, now it shows itself. Now it shows its true colors. It shows how bad it really is. But I'm gonna stop right here, because if I don't, I'm just gonna start talking, and I'm gonna start talking about nothing really. So y'all have a good one. Thank you for listening.